It is the Martha Zoller Show, and Gigi Mack is here with me today,
Yes, I
the dancing
am.
travel agent.
Thank you.
And thank you for your generous gift to my sister's
Thanks,
place.
Martha. Sure, no problem.
And joining me right now, I couldn't wait to have Emily on. Emily Lampkin's joining me right now. And she's written a book called Duct Tape, White Lies, and White Lies, A Woman's Practical Guide to Real Life Success. Emily, welcome to the program. How are you?
Thanks. Hi, good morning. How are you? Love talking to one of my favorite women leaders.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So how did this book come about? Because I'll be honest with you, I normally read the book before I do the interview, but I wanted to do this interview as soon as I saw the title, so I have not finished reading the book yet. But I wanted to know how it came about because, you know, the title says it all, doesn't it?
Yes. So I have this Women Leaders Series workshop, and I go out and talk about perfecting the tools we already have to be thriving in our life. And when I was out, women were asking for a book. Can I take this home? How do I reference this later? And I thought about the book. When I decided to write it, what was I going to call it? My answer I always have for living life in the messy middle, duct tape and white lies. Perfection is not what life looks like, but we can still have what we want.
So tell us a little bit about the book, Duct Tape and White Lies.
Sure. 3 fundamentals in there. Talk about helping women sell themselves. What does branding look like? How do I build a message? How do I tell a story about myself? How do I get a little more confident? And how do I start asking for what I want? Networking. We go through the fundamentals and then the sophistication of networking. How to build and maintain a dynamic network and use it for what you want. And finally, going now. More than 50% of the women on this globe are unsatisfied with their life because they gave up on their dream. Almost none of us thought we were going to be a supermodel. I want to help women to go ahead and seek that dream they have. Let's put together an individualized plan of action and get them to where they want to go. The book is also filled with what I call accessories. They are mini chapters with the how-tos. When I talk to women, they often say, I know I want something. I know I'm supposed to go get it, but I don't even know where to start. So accessories include things, Martha, such as 10 ways to get out of a conversation, great gift ideas that are inexpensive that build relationships. All of that's included in the book.
You know, Emily, I was having a conversation with my daughter recently because she and her husband he went back to school in his 30s. He got a fantastic job with one of the old school companies, you know what I mean, that does all the stuff, you know, the benefits and the relocation and the whole 9 yards. And she is a millennial and she is used to researching everything, you know, online about everything. And it was causing her a great deal of anxiety. And my advice to her was, honey, you need to be a little less like a millennial and a little more like a boomer, where boomers just kind of went with the flow because we didn't know what was going to happen. You know, we got out of school. Our parents were World War II veterans. They had been through the Depression. They had kind of my mother was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't know about your parents, but my mother was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so I think there's something we can garner. And that's kind of what drew me to the Duct Tape and White Lies, was that there's something we can garner to kind of just going with the flow instead of having to organize everything.
Well, one thing I know for sure, there are times when we as women get fixated on perfection. And perfection is unattainable. It's also miserable. And I often get asked if there's one piece of advice. I actually have 2. Number 1, take more risks. All of us define risks separately. But I find that women who are thriving in their life live with less regret. They try things. Even if they're failures, I call mistakes now I knows. It's okay to have mistakes, but living without regret is a good thing. And coupled with that is we need to have more fun. Shake it off. Have some girlfriends over for coffee or drinks. Mix up your crew. Ask somebody about themselves. All of that stuff. Fun makes life a lot more enjoyable.
So Gigi,
Hmm.
you've been through, kind of a lot of different business opportunities. You've
Yes.
recreated yourself a number of times. Can you relate to this thing? Because I can relate to this wanting to be perfect. My husband doesn't
Oh
worry
gosh,
about being
yes.
perfect. He takes he takes risks. If they don't work out, he just moves on to the next thing. Do you
Hmm.
relate to that?
I do, and I have always been an entrepreneur. As I was telling you earlier, I've always owned my own business, but I'm in the travel business now, and I'm around so many other women who just lack that confidence to go out and start their own business, or maybe they don't feel that they're worthy of saying, "Oh, I'm a business owner," and they just don't have the confidence to go and do that. And being that I've always been an entrepreneur, I've always just gone for it. I think it's just in our blood, in my family. So I
Absolutely.
love it. And as a performer, I just don't seem to have a big problem with that. But I just know I meet so many women in this industry and all the industries I've been in that just lack that confidence. They just are too scared, and like you were saying, they want to be perfect.
So Emily Lampkin, and the author of Duct Tape and White Lies, I just love that, and I think that we have created this situation where I was reading an article where they said those 60s and 70s kids were the last ones that learned how to solve their own problems. We need to reinstitute that, Emily, in the women, not just the women we're
Hmm.
raising today, but especially the women we're raising today.
Hmm.
They have a lot of strengths. They also, we have done them disservices at times as a society. And one of the things that they do is they do think a lot about what they're going to do. We've also taught them, which I think is somewhat incorrect, what a mentor is. It is great to go advice and input. As an entrepreneur, you go run around and ask people what they know and look to incorporate that in what you're doing. But you need to make your own decisions because you are the only person who has all of the information and you're the only one who has to live with it. And I think we have, again, gone too far on this perfection. But back to the confidence question, all of us have this confidence thing in the back of our mind. I hear it from great women leaders at times about how much they still have that voice in their head. And we cover that in the book because the only way I know how to make that better is the way we do anything, practicing, finding out what works and what doesn't work.
Absolutely. We're talking to Emily Lampkin, and her book is called Duct Tape and White Lies, A Woman's Practical Guide to Real Life Success. And she's done global women's leadership programs. She has worked with the U.S. State Department, TV and podcasts. She's been, had great insights on a number of things. And I had a heart attack on February the 5th, and I spent 2 weeks recovering, and then I'm sort of coming back to work now, figuring out what that's going to look like as I go forward. And it was a stress related, and it was a common condition, Emily, that happens to women. It's called Takotsubo syndrome, which is, colloquially called the broken heart syndrome, but it's common in women. In fact, every doctor I saw said, I have never seen this in a man. It's always in a woman because we carry our stress differently. But it made me spend a lot of time thinking about what's really important. And even though I'm 66 now, it is important to always be willing to reinvent yourself, always be willing to talk about it. And I still have the little fat girl in my head that tells me I'm a failure. Okay. And we've got to get past that.
There's a reason I really like you. I think so much of you and what you have to say. And I often make the point you just made. I really don't have anything to add because it's all true. I just want all of your listeners to understand we all live the same life. I wrote this book for us. I made it not a hardcover book so it was more affordable because I want all of us to have what we want. And we cannot give up our jobs. We cannot give up being the caretaker for so many people in our families, but you can still have what you want within your discretionary time and get you to be thriving in your life.
Well, Emily Lampkin, tell people where they can get this book.
Sure, Amazon, or really anywhere you'd buy books, Target, Barnes & Noble, wherever you'd buy a book, you can get your copy of Duct Tape and White Lies. And it is the great and affordable gift for a woman you love in your life as well.
And I love that you said, get it at Amazon because, we were having this conversation this weekend where, the big failure, I think, of the 20th century was Sears, because Sears was Amazon. Okay, they got the catalog, that you got it, you did all that stuff, but then they tried to go high end. They forgot who they were. And now Amazon is actually the Sears catalog of the 21st century.
It is, and it works in so many of our lives.
It does. It really does. I mean, I hate to admit how much money I spend at Amazon every month,
too.
but it is a wonderful thing. I have learned though, Emily, how to combine my deliveries so that I get 8% back, and so I have really enjoyed doing that. Anyway, Emily,
Good. I hope you're spending the 8% on something fun for yourself, Martha.
That's absolutely right. Emily Lampkin, Duct Tape and White Lies. A Women's Practical Guide to Real Success, Life Success. It's available today. Thank you for being with me today.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Talk to you later, Martha.
We'll talk later. Bye-bye.
From the twists and turns